Useless is what this thing is because you're not gonna need it any longer. Dude, put it back. What the heck, Goose? But how does that make any sense when the PlayStation 5 has this, that, and even these? Sit down, relax, let me explain. Come on. Great. Now how am I supposed to play with the boys tonight? You might be surprised to find out that consoles actually don't make much money. In fact, they lose money, and a lot of it. So what gives? Companies like Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony use an approach I like to call the keep it cute method. The idea is simple. They're gonna take a hit on all the costs it takes for creating a brand spanking new console in hopes that you will use your money on their store for anything in there so that they can make their money back on their cut. Take a loss initially, but then they profit off little tiny transactions. So you might be asking yourself, why do I call it the keep it cute method? Absolutely no reason, but you get a console at an affordable price and they get you inside their ecosystem. Well, it's still not exactly affordable, and throw some shady Craigslist scalpers in there, and who knows how much money I'm gonna have left after your little stunt. Why exploded? What was the you could have just said don't get this. And he's not joking. You blew up my PS5. You're sick in the head. Even with the cost cut, consoles are extremely expensive due to multiple factors. There's R&D, marketing, manufacturing, the stores gotta take their cut. So at the end of the day, there's really not that much more that they can do to reduce the price by. At least that's what we thought until Sony just mopped the floor with Microsoft with the PlayStation 4.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
After that, Microsoft asked a more interesting question. A question that had the potential to completely change gaming as we know it. Yes, found it. And now I'm gonna buy this PS5 at a premium from some random French guy, and believe me, I'm sending you the bill. What if you didn't need to buy the console? You see, Microsoft discovered something different, something new, something disruptive. It discovered that games were a lot like movies. Shocker, right? When you want to watch 2011's Drive starring the Goose, you don't think to yourself, oh geez, if only I had a portable DVD player or the right internet connection to watch it online. No, nobody does that. We can either buy 2011's Drive starring the Goose, or we can just stream it like normal people. There's no, will it run here, or do I need this box to run it there? No. It just works. It just works. You can watch the Goose any way that you want as long as you have some money. And believe me, the Goose is watching the Goose.
I appreciate your candor.
Cut back to Microsoft in 2017 where they announced something huge. Microsoft would bundle all of their first-party games with a subscription to Game Pass, but that wasn't all. They announced Xbox Play Anywhere, which, I gotta say, there's better names, but it gets the message across just fine.
This icon means when you buy the game digitally, you get to own it and play it on both Xbox One and Windows 10 PC.
No thinking required, as easy as it can be. For the gaming industry, this was new, and people had no idea how to process this. But for movies, it was just another day at the park. Have a Game Pass subscription? Well, play it where you want, how you want, wherever you want. The way it should be. Simple. Now, some would say this is goose-tastic. Some would use those words. People still say that, goose-tastic. But what does it mean for us exactly? Well, now there's absolutely no reason to save all of your money to buy the most expensive console from some shady guy in the park so you can play the latest and greatest games. I'm guessing you're the PS5 guy. Qu'est-ce que tu penses? You know, it's just a little weird paying such a high price for the PS5 from some shady guy in the park to play the latest and greatest PS5 games. No offense. Est-ce que tu veux le PS5 ou non? C'est $1,200, mon chum. Puis? Ah ouais, let's go, Anglais. Let's go. You know what? Sorry, man. I think I'm gonna pass. Passing on the PlayStation 5 today is absolutely insane. You're gonna need that thing to play Insomniac's next Spider-Man game. And believe you me, we all want to play Insomniac's next Spider-Man game. What about tomorrow? Well, the question we should be asking ourselves is how much of what Microsoft does today affects Sony tomorrow?
My hands are a little dirty. So am I.
So Game Pass has clearly influenced Sony to make their cloud streaming service better, but let's face it, at the end of the day, Sony's bread and butter is those sweet, beautiful, first-party exclusives. So it should kind of come as a surprise to see that they're starting to port those games to the PC with updated graphics. It's kind of a big clue, some might say. Okay, so I didn't get a PS5, but I did get this coffee from Tim Hortons just to spite you, and they do still have more subscribers than you, Goose. Sucks to suck. As usual, Duck knew me better than anyone. It did indeed suck to suck. Then how are you gonna play with the boys? Turns out the boys are just gonna get Game Pass instead. There's more games we can play together, and it's just easier on the old wallet, so we can get more of these. As you can clearly see, the cost and convenience is clearly a big factor for people. Yeah, it's a big factor, because you blew up my PS5. And you still owe me money for it. Games have always been the moneymaker for companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. They cost nothing to sell in the store because they're basically digital tokens, they incentivize subscriptions, and they get us to buy additional content via DLC. So the question we should be asking ourselves is, why not bypass the console entirely? This is exactly Microsoft's strategy, and the results will actually blow your mind. Players who subscribe to Game Pass spent 60% more on games and 45% more on add-ons and consumables. But that's not all. Overall, Game Pass members played 30% more genres and 40% more new games, which means they played games they otherwise wouldn't have. That's actually really cool. The strategy is clearly working for the trillion-dollar company, but what about the tinier independent companies? According to Microsoft's, we might be a wee bit biased here, but from 2016 to 2020, it says Game Pass helped contribute to close to 2/3 of an indie developer's growth for pay-to-play games. Well, that's just goose-tastic. Just say it. It sounds right. Goose-tastic. Goose-tastic. But on the flip side, Sony's PlayStation 5 is selling like freaking hotcakes and is constantly selling out. So by no means is Sony losing anything, or at least I thought so too until Xbox's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, said this. When you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with Nintendo and Sony while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world. Today you need the PlayStation 5 for the latest and greatest games, but Game Pass has shown us that it shouldn't really matter where or how you play. What matters most is you're playing the games that you love with the people you love the way that you want to play them. Gaming has so much to offer. It has huge experiences that you'll love to get lost to and small ones that you'll never forget. It has never been about where you play. Instead, at the end of the day, it's always about the games that you play and the friends that you make along the way. Now that is goose-tastic. Dude, there's no pre-game lobbies, I'm getting censored in my own team chat, and I can't even talk to the enemy team at all. No proximity chat or nothing. It's like the third game to do this. What is happening? Sadly, the video game industry has a giant secret that they don't want you to know about, and it's happening right underneath your nose. Billion-dollar corporations are silencing your communities, they're ruining your online experience, and they're not gonna stop until they win gaming's war on